Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club. Show that we do with our mouths.
Just our mouths. No other part of our body is involved.
No. Well, lungs. Mouth and lungs.
There is no in between.
That's what we are.
My eyes are gone. My fingers are gone. I'm just a mouth in a jar.
Mouth.
A mouth in an iron lung.
I guess we have to use our ears to hear each other. And you have to use your ears to hear us. You have to.
To be fair, I don't think I need to use my ears to hear you. I think I could predict everything you say.
Okay. Take your headphones off for a second.
No.
Oh. Alright. Play the theme song then. We watched F-Zero GP Legend again.
I don't know why I keep requesting this show. I feel like it's getting worse.
Yeah, it was you that requested it last week, now that I think about it.
It was funny at first, because it's a show about Captain Falcon that doesn't include Captain Falcon. But yeah. I don't really know why this show exists, Mike.
I am going to go ahead and say up front that I think this is the worst episode we've watched so far.
It's bad.
And it's not 100% because Captain Falcon wasn't in it, but it's largely because of that.
It certainly would have spiced things up, but it's just a dull episode.
Yeah, why didn't he even show up? Also, I've got so many questions about this show, but we'll get to those as I come to them.
Okay.
This episode was called Lap 3, Apprentice Trooper Lucy, and it first aired on October 21st, 2003 on TV Tokyo. There's some kind of I thought this was a race going on, but I think it's just multiple people test racing this course before the actual race.
Yeah, that seems to be what's going on.
It's on the planet Clifoto, apparently. I sort of assumed that this was Firefield at first, which is a course that's in every F-Zero game. But it isn't. This isn't Firefield. This is a completely unrelated place that is just basically Firefield.
So, are any of the mechanics that they talk about real in F-Zero?
Which ones?
Is being on the hot planet, do you have to be careful about your boost and stuff?
No, I don't think that's ever been a mechanic.
I didn't think it would be either.
No, I'm pretty sure Firefield is just looks different than the other places. I don't think there's any.
It's just the hot stage.
I don't think there's any special heat mechanic. But if there was going to be a special heat mechanic, Firefield would be the place to put it.
Yeah, you just get lava jumping across the track. Maybe Bowser's breathing fire from his castle.
I'm pretty sure lava does jump across the track, but it's not. It's just a visual thing.
Oh, doesn't make you spin out.
F-Zero doesn't have a lot of stage hazards in the same kind of way that Mario does. F-Zero doesn't have a lot of boulders rolling on the course and things like that.
F-Zero is its own hazard because it's too fast.
Yeah, the stage hazards in F-Zero are generally the other races.
The edge of the stage.
Yeah, that too.
It's like playing on 200cc
But yeah, apparently Firefield is in the show, but much, much later. It's in like episode 40-something.
Okay.
So they knew it existed at least.
They just didn't care.
So we start here with Lucy Liberty, who was introduced in the previous episode, driving around in Dr. Stewart's machine, the Golden Fox. And I guess she's just testing the course. She said she does a couple laps so she can give notes to the real racers when they do the real race.
She's some type engineer or something.
Yeah. All of our main characters are here having a boredom meeting.
Boredom meeting.
It's so boring. Anytime they're talking about car stuff, I want to go to sleep. Yeah, main characters. It's so funny, like, thinking of these as the main characters, because out of all of these people, the only one that I would consider a main character in the F-Zero games is Jody Summer.
Right. And she only shows up to hit people and be angry.
Yeah. Like, aside from that, this is a bunch of B and C tier characters. Like, Jack Levin. Who the hell cares about Jack Levin?
No one.
Rick Wheeler doesn't even exist in the games. Sorry, what is he? Ryu, whatever he is in Japanese, I forget.
I don't know what his last name is.
Ryu Wheeler. Yeah, so Lucy comes in to give them the data that she's been gathering, and Jody introduces her to the team. Says she's going to be working with Dr. Clash. Dr. Clash didn't know about this.
Yeah, I liked that part.
Dr. Clash as well. He's another one, like, I forget he exists. He's like a D tier F-Zero character.
What about this weird guy in the white suit?
Oh, Mr. EAD.
Like Mario.
Oh, leave him alone. He's great.
No, I love him. I forget who he is every time, and then he shows up. I'm like, who is this marvelous specimen?
I don't know what tier I would put him on, like for real, but in my heart, he's an A tier character. I love this guy.
S tier.
Yeah.
God tier.
I love Mr. EAD. He's named Mr. EAD because those are the stats of his car. And that's also the name of the studio that made the F-Zero games. So
okay.
Same studio that made the Mario games and the Zelda games.
So it sounds like he doesn't have a very good car.
Hang on. E, I guess, is the speed. A is probably the boost, and D is the handling. So he boosts real good.
You get him on a zipper and you cannot catch him, but heaven forbid you put a turn in his way.
He's definitely a gimmick character, because I don't think you ever really want to use any character who has an E in anything. Let me look him up real quick. His car is the Great Star, and where is stats? Oh, E in body strength, A in boost strength, and D in grip strength. Okay.
So he does not have that gorilla grip.
No, he's got bad grip. He's got worse. I guess he like gets destroyed the most easily. But he can boost real good.
You cannot catch him.
Yeah, I feel like that's a real bad. Oh, apparently Mr. EAD was built by a scientist named Shigsmapone.
Shigsmapone.
Who could that be in reference to?
He's great. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I exclusively race as Mr. EAD.
Rick's out practicing. He's good at it. Whatever. It's boring.
I'm so sick of Rick already.
I know. Everyone's just standing around talking about F-Zero machine stuff. It's boring. It's nerd stuff.
She's trying to explain the course to them. It's like, the turns are really hot for some reason. Don't boost.
You're saying I shouldn't boost into a turn?
What?
Just because it's hot?
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, Mr. EAD notices that there's an unfamiliar car following Ryu. And it's the Iron Tiger, which is being driven by Baba.
I love that Mr. EAD points that out, and I think it's Jack. He's like, "You're crazy. It's right behind him. It's right behind him on the course. It's practically hitting his bumper."
Yeah. Baba is played by Takashi Yamato, but apparently he only played Baba in this episode, and someone else takes over Baba for the rest of the series.
Why?
But it's not because Takashi Yamato left the show, because he continues to play Octoman for the rest of the series. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they just got a dedicated Baba.
Yeah, maybe. He was the temp Baba.
Yeah. I don't have time to be Baba. I'm a full-time Octoman.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking like they got a better guy to play Baba, and then they were like, look, we don't want you for Baba anymore, but do you want to play Octoman?
You want to be the squiddly diddly guy?
We haven't heard Octoman speak yet in this show. We've seen him, but we haven't heard his voice. So
Yeah.
What if his whole shtick is that he's just like...
I hope so.
Anyway, apparently Takashi Yamato didn't have a huge credits list. He hasn't done any acting since the 2000s. It seemed like one of his biggest roles was playing the lead, or I think he was the lead at least, in a 1990 movie named Tekken, which is in no way related to the video game Tekken.
Okay.
But it caught my eye. In English, Baba is played by Sean Schemmel, who we know as the voice of Chortle's Chippopotamus in Viva Pinata.
Oh, no.
He also played Hamilton Horstachio in that show as well.
Oh, well. We like Hamilton.
No, we don't like Hamilton. Hamilton was the faker.
Oh, no, he's the bad one.
Yeah. We like,
That's right.
Is it Horace or Hudson? We like Hudson Horstachio.
Hudson. We like Bojack Horstachio.
Yeah, he's the good thing about that show. I feel like we always think his name is Horace.
Because that's just a horse name.
Yeah, I think last time we watched Viva Pinata, we kept calling him Horace, and we talked about the fact that we both keep thinking his name is Horace.
If you're gonna give a horse an alliterative name, it has to be Horace. There's no other option.
I wonder if they were just like, because Disney's horse is named Horace. Horace Horsecollar. Mickey's friend that never shows up.
Oh,
so I wonder if they were just like, we don't want people to think of the Disney horse.
Disney's gonna come after our asses.
But here's the thing. Nobody thinks of the Disney horse.
They haven't used him in 50 years.
When he shows up, he has one line, maybe. And he was proto-Goofy. That's all he was. And as soon as Goofy came along, they didn't have a place for him anymore.
Yeah, they couldn't do a cool Proto-Man thing with him. It just doesn't work.
So that's what I want him to be now. I want him to be the Mickey Mouse series as Proto-Man.
He just shows up to be a little angsty anti-hero.
Yeah, whenever Mickey's in trouble, you hear a little whistle. And then and then
Horace is standing on the horizon line
with a flowing scarf, pair of sunglasses. Yeah.
And then he just pulls out like a seltzer flower and throws a pie or something.
One thing I noticed is that Baba has a heck of a nose on him in this show.
He sure does.
He does not have that in the game. He has a normal human nose in the games.
They just wanted to give him a very striking silhouette.
It's striking, all right. Makes you wonder if he's actually a human or not, but he is supposed to be a human as far as I know.
I mean, at least you could say the characters in this show don't suffer from same face syndrome.
It's true, but this guy doesn't suffer from human face syndrome.
I mean, there's aliens afoot. Maybe he is one.
Maybe. I mean, he isn't from Earth.
There you go.
Maybe, but I always got the impression that he was from a human colony. He's from the planet Giant, which is a naturistic planet, I think. It's like it's a big planet, but it's like old, like forests and stuff.
Mhm.
And he's just a kid from this podunk backwater planet who got scouted to race in F-Zero because he had the physical
Gumption.
he was like flexible and tough enough. Whatever
Why do you
that
need to be
means.
flexible and tough to sit in a car?
So Baba reports into Zoda.
No, this is a question that it ties back into the show because it happens right after this point. But now that we're talking about it, I have to say it. Because Ryu gets out of his car and he's like so tired.
Yeah, he
like,
nearly collapses from racing too hard.
Right? Like he was on foot or something. But he's just been sitting in a car, stepping on pedals.
Everyone's like, you've overdone it. You've been racing too much. I don't know, maybe like all the blood rushed to the back of his skull or something.
Maybe.
Because he is going like 200 kilometers an hour.
That's true. I think that is a thing with like fighter pilots where they have to worry about the blood leaving their heads and blacking out.
Yeah, that's why they have their like feet wrapped up really tight or something.
Yeah.
I remember there being a thing because in the early Star Fox games, if you look at the art from the first few Star Fox games, the characters all have robot legs. And apparently,
so that the blood can't go to them?
Yeah, apparently there was some kind of like lore explanation that they all of the R-Wing pilots had their legs amputated so the blood couldn't rush to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they definitely dropped it in later games and the characters just have normal legs in the newer games now, but
we don't have to worry about that because our pilot's a fox.
Yeah, I think in all the official art for the original Super Nintendo Star Fox, they all very clearly have robot legs. In the N64 one, it's ambiguous because they're also low poly. And then after the N64 one, it's very clearly normal legs that they have.
Lame.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah, I want that universe where everybody has robot legs in Star Fox.
Hey, we had it. We had that universe.
We had a taste.
So, yeah, Baba is apparently working for Zoda in this show. He's not a villain in the games. He's just some kid in the races. He's not even like particularly important, which is true of like most of the F-Zero cast. They're just guys, you know?
Right.
Most of them aren't really on the side of good or evil. They're just people racing in F-Zero. There's only a handful of them that have a stated stance on whether they're good or bad guys. Even Captain Falcon, I feel like, is kind of ambiguous on which side he falls on.
This episode really had me racking my brain because it's been so long since we've watched the first two. Isn't the case like they're entering all of these races because this is how Zoda is funding his crime ring or something?
Listen, I'm going to get into it in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I have so much to say about this whole thing.
I'm so glad that we're coming back to it because this is a really dull episode that made me question a lot of things.
Me too. Anyway, Ryu or Rick or whatever you want to call him is passing out from racing too good. And Lucy wants to try racing the course in his car so she can get a better feel for the advice that he needs. So she steals his car. And the image of him silently pounding on the window, like we can't hear him funny. Outside. Yeah, that was the funniest moment in this show.
That was a legitimately funny moment. Because otherwise this show takes itself way too seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's, I think, a big failing of this show. Because the F-Zero games don't take themselves very seriously at all.
There's an octopus man racing.
You know, you got Mr. EAD, there's a T-Rex in a car. It's a very silly series, and the way to adapt it, in my opinion, is to do like a parody of Marvel Comics or something. Because that's what I feel like F-Zero is. It's a parody of American comics. But that's not what they're doing.
No.
That's not what they're doing in this show, and I feel like it was a mistake not to do that. So... yeah, Lucy steals the car and drives off. Jody and Dr. Stewart are in a meeting with some cartoon animals when they look at a screen and they spot the dragon bird. I guess it's supposed to be like veering around the course in a weird way, and that's what draws their attention to it. They're like, it's not driving good. That's weird.
He's swerving all over the place. What is happening?
I sure didn't notice.
I noticed because, like, all of the shots of her driving, she's clearly freaking out and doesn't have any control of it.
Okay, that's fair. I wouldn't have spotted it in that screen, though. Like, they're supposed to be paying attention to the whatever the briefing is. What the hell is that briefing? Who are these cartoon animals? What's happening here?
I mean, they're probably stuck in a boring meeting, so something comes on the TV and everybody watches.
So, Baba sees the dragon bird coming up behind her. By the way, Baba had reported into Zoda because he saw the dragon bird on the course, and he's like, hey, this is that car that almost beat Captain Falcon the other day in a race. I better tell the boss that car's here. But they don't know who's driving it yet at this point. So he sees the car coming up behind him and he slows down to get a look. And he sees a woman in there and it activates his misogynistic spirit. So he starts driving aggressively. That is what happens, right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to be beaten by a girl.
Because at first he's just like, well, whatever. I'm not going to take this that seriously because the race is tomorrow. But then he sees a girl in there and then he's like, fuck. No.
I'll show her.
And he starts, I guess, like just driving too close to her. He's doing like not touching, can't get mad.
Right.
And Rick runs off to try and help her. They can't get through to her on the radio, by the way. I don't know if it ever explained why they can't.
It's not, because later in this episode, she's clearly using the radio to talk to Jack.
Right.
He just doesn't listen.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason they can't get through to her on the radio at this moment. Lucy doesn't want to let Baba win, so she boosts, even knowing it's going to get her in trouble. And she crashes and she falls off the course. Immediately. Straight down, like, I want to say like 50 feet, but that feels like an underestimation of how far she falls.
Yeah, she drops pretty far.
And then Rick goes down there and just kind of like stares at her unconscious body for an uncomfortable amount of time.
He wasn't prepared to have to drag a corpse up. He was just going to follow her around the course.
He's just peering in through the window and it just like holds on that for ages. Like I got uncomfortable watching.
I think I laughed because it was right before the ad bumper.
Yeah.
Lucy!
Yeah, the ad bumpers, by the way. This is something, this is a very small praise, but I like it when Japanese shows do this with their ad bumpers, where they actually have like a different one every episode.
Yeah.
Sonic X did this as well, where it was character profiles. And it's nice. It gives you something to look at before and after the ads. So the first commercial bumper here shows us Lucy Liberty and her vehicle, the Elegance Liberty, which is given the number 31. You know, I didn't think to do this, but I want to check, because I'm sure 31 is already assigned in the games.
31 is 13 with the numbers transposed, and that's Zoda's car!
That's true, it is.
She's Nega Zoda.
I'm pretty sure Black Shadow is number 30. Where does it say? Where's the wiki put the numbers? Yeah, okay. Black Shadow's car is number 30. He's the big boss villain. So yeah, okay, 31 is already assigned, and it's assigned to the Fat Shark.
The Fat Shark?
Yeah.
Is he an actual fat shark?
It's the car belonging to Don Genie from F-Zero AX. Here it is. Here's a picture of the Fat Shark.
I love it.
I'll show you its driver as well.
He's pretty good too.
He's pretty good. The famous head mogul of the Universal Traders and an intergalactic criminal.
You can tell by his giant jewels.
Oh, apparently he is in this show as well. So what's the excuse, showrunners?
Maybe he's gonna get mad about it. And that's what the episode's about.
He's gonna show up. Be like, hey, we can't have 2 number 31s on this course.
Yeah.
Apparently he's the only F-Zero AX pilot to appear in the anime. Interesting. This is likely due to many AX pilots' machine numbers already being taken by various anime original characters. Well, but this is one of them. So...
Well, they knew they could get away with 1, but too many and people would start asking questions.
Wait, I thought... Hold on, that can't be right, can it? I thought that Daigoro was in the show. Maybe he's not. Daigoro is Samurai Goro's son.
Oh.
I thought that he appeared in the show at some point, but no, his wiki page doesn't say anything about him being in the show, so maybe I'm wrong. The second one, yeah, is Zoda and Vehicle 13, the Death Anchor. That's accurate, I assume.
Yeah.
I didn't check.
Probably. They might be lying about Zoda having once been a human in the 80s or whatever. But
yeah, I don't think that's... Wait, did we look into it last time?
I'm pretty sure we did, and they're not connected at all. Zoda's just an actual alien.
Zoda is a villain who wants to conquer Earth, even though he is from it, as an improved version of the human.
Oh!
He has been in a long dispute with the hero of justice, Super Arrow. He has also been marked by Captain Falcon and once was almost captured for his bounty. Zoda's crazed tendencies come from a machine that pumps adrenaline and dopamine into his body. He considers himself to be the baddest man in the universe. He enters the Grand Prix races with the Death Anchor to raise funding for his sinister plots. And during this latest race, he plans to take out anyone who dares interfere with his master plan. So that's actually closer to... The anime is actually, like, not as far away from accurate as I thought it was then.
It's still kind of baffling what they did, but yeah.
Yeah, but the whole stuff about, him being from the past doesn't appear to be anything in the game. But Zoda is in fact a human from Earth, as revealed through the post-race interviews in F-Zero GX, though he has clearly modified himself on a genetic and cybernetic level.
Interesting.
In Smash Bros. 4, the data, blah, 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 there was a tidbit from the show saying he was modified by Black Shadow, which only occurs in the anime. Huh, okay. Despite his evil tendencies, Zoda has a total of 5 fans.
I love that. That is an excellent piece of lore.
In his spare time, Zoda likes to grow flowers that kill people. See, this is the silly stuff that I can't believe they didn't capitalize on for this show.
Right. What a goofball.
This whole series is dumb and silly, and they know it's dumb and silly. It's deliberately dumb and silly.
Yeah, I saw Captain Falcon's entry video.
Oh yeah, I showed you.
Whatever it was.
I showed you a couple
where
of
he splits his pants.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Saving the baby from the train. Yeah. It's great. F-Zero is great. I wish this anime did a better job of displaying how great it is. Anyway, where were we?
Lucy is woken up.
Lucy wakes up back at base and she apologizes. Jody comes in and slaps Rick across the face for letting a woman drive his car.
She just assaults people whenever she has a decent excuse. It doesn't have to be a good excuse.
I did see, before I watched the show, I saw a comment on the wiki article about this episode where someone said, "This episode made me hate Jody for being so mean and yelling at everybody, not like the sweet person she is in the games." And I was like, oh, well, that seems like an overreaction. And then I watched the episode and I was like, okay, I kind of see where they're coming from.
Later in the episode, she picks up a pipe wrench and everybody visibly tenses, like she's gonna beat people with it.
They don't just visibly tense. They're like, "Don't do it, Jody."
You can't do any more time, Jody. They're not gonna let you out this time.
Anyway, yeah, I just thought it was so funny that Lucy stole that car and everyone was trying to stop her. But then Jody comes in and slaps Rick and is like, well, she's a woman, so clearly she didn't have any control in the situation.
He was supposed to stop her.
You, the man, should have stopped her.
Should have stood in front of the car and stopped it with your giant muscles.
So Dr. Stewart tells Rick that they found out that Zoda has signed up for the race, but because the dragon bird is damaged, they've missed a chance to race him. And herein begins some of the problems I have with what's happening here.
This is a big turning point in the episode where it starts getting really boring and bad.
Oh, it's been boring already.
It has, but like now it gets worse because it's just Ryu's angst.
Yeah, so he starts having flashbacks to 100 years ago Zoda, or whatever it was, when he was just a criminal in a black and white striped convict suit.
Like the Hamburglar.
I'm not joking, by the way. That's actually literally what he's wearing in these flashbacks.
I'm sure if we could see the contents of the backseat, it would be a sack with a $sign on it.
And then he just like runs outside screaming for Zoda, like it's his last chance to propose before Zoda marries the rich baron.
Zoda! Zoda! 姿を現せ! どこにいるんだ? Zoda! 出てこい! Zoda!
He had his chance at the cotillion.
Jack Levin has to come out and drag him back in. Then the crew are eating dinner in their big weird ship base thing. But Rick isn't there. His TV dinner is getting cold.
Oh no! Mr. EAD is eyeing it.
Yeah, well, he hasn't got one.
He already ate it.
Did you? Is that what it was? I don't know if Mr. EAD eats, because everyone else at this table is eating a dinner, and Mr. EAD is sitting there with an empty place setting.
I don't know. It's unclear.
I was wondering if maybe Mr. EAD doesn't eat, but he still likes to join them for dinner.
Probably. I just like to think that he saw all that food sitting there and he's like, whoa, it doesn't need to go to waste.
Well, I've already eaten mine.
I don't have a stomach, but I can put it in my mouth and chew it up a bit.
So they only talk about the fact that Rick isn't there, but Lucy and Dr. Clash aren't here either. And that's sort of
well, because they need to set up some fake drama because Rick disappears and they're like, oh no, he's going to go kill Zoda. But he just goes to work on the car.
Well, is that what it was? Because I thought they were like, he's going to go work on the car. But then we see him and he's just like standing in the distance staring at the building he works in, thinking about Zoda.
I mean, when isn't he thinking about Zoda?
True.
That's true. I was just very confused by this scene because I didn't understand the dramatics of it.
Yeah, no, Dr. Clash and Lucy aren't here, but they don't talk about that. Maybe it's because they already know that those two are working on the machine.
Yeah.
And then they just like figure maybe that's where Rick has gone as well. And he does go there eventually. I did like this scene between Dr. Clash and Lucy because they're working on the Dragon Bird and we get some quite good, in my opinion, character writing on Dr. Clash here where it shows us that he's like accepted her without saying it, you know?
Yeah.
So he's complaining about working on the car and she's apologizing for what she did to it. And then he just slides out from underneath it and he looks kind of stern for a second, but then he smiles and he's like, it's going to take us all night, you know? They get to work together on it. And it was nice.
And then who should show up sulking in the background?
Yeah, he shows up too. He starts helping as well. And then everybody shows up. And yeah, this is the part where Jody, she just walks in silently, picks up a wrench or something, and everybody thinks that she's there to beat them all to death. For no reason.
I think that's why I must have, in hindsight, read that scene the way I did, because it's so weird and dramatic and tense for no reason.
Yeah, we have no reason in this moment to think that Jody has more reason to hit him again.
To strike him?
Yeah, but she just picks up a tool and everybody is just like, don't do it!
Not again!
You gotta learn to control yourself, Jody!
Get a hobby or something! Start journaling!
You can't have another assault of an employee on your record! But no, she's actually pitching in to help. The whole crew end up helping. I think it still takes them all night, but...
But it takes less of all night, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we go to see what's going on over in Zoda's garage. And I guess this is here to, like, contrast Zoda against the whatever the heck task force.
Right.
Because he also needs work done on his machine. But he's not so nice about it, and he doesn't help.
No. It's Baba's responsibility.
Yeah. Baba tells him that the Dragon Bird is piloted by a woman. So I guess, like, they just think that Lucy was the real pilot of the Dragon Bird.
Mm-hmm.
Zoda talks about how he wants to get rid of all the racers that get in his way. Baba says that that Zoda's car isn't ready yet because they're waiting for parts, and then Zoda blasts a robot behind Baba. He's like, use those parts.
I don't think it works that way, Zoda.
No, I don't think so either.
I need a part for my car. Let me smash open my computer.
There's got to be a carburetor in here somewhere, right?
Where does the wheel come from?
So the Dragon Bird is finished, and everyone thanks Lucy in particular, whose main contribution was wrecking it.
Well, we find out that she did do some stuff later.
Well, yeah, but only Dr. Clash knew about that stuff. So
That's true.
It just seemed odd that everybody pitched in, but they all thank Lucy in particular. Like, there's nothing about her that's more special or important in this instance. It's very strange. Maybe they're all just like, well, it's her first day and she was knocked unconscious in a car crash that we probably shouldn't have let her take. And then the boss yelled at her, so if we don't want an HR complaint, we should probably be extra nice to her from now on.
We can't have another lawsuit on our hands so soon after the last one.
It's her first day. Like, just be really, really nice to her.
She probably shouldn't have even survived that crash, to be honest.
She hasn't even signed the waiver yet. She hasn't signed the waiver, guys.
She was going really fast, and that car very nearly exploded on the sun planet.
I've been on the phone to the lawyer, and it's not good.
She has a really strong case. Just give her this.
Like ironclad. She hasn't. I can't stress this enough. She hasn't signed anything. Anyway, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
So at the race, Jody tells the team to focus on beating Zoda. I don't get it. Why are they racing him? Arrest this man!
Like I said, I think I remember them saying that they're doing this to cut off his funding.
Okay.
He gets all of his crime money from winning races. So if he doesn't win races, he can't do crimes.
Okay, but that does imply that he's already done crimes, doesn't it?
Yes, he's already done crimes.
So how can he be arrested for his crimes?
I don't know. I don't remember that part.
Because it feels like they're trying to arrest him. Later on in the episode, when Rick has him, it feels like he's trying to arrest him. But why do they have to?
That's not what it felt like to me.
Oh no!
That whole scene.
All right. Let's wait until we get to it then. But I feel it to me. I guess like maybe you're right, and maybe that's what it is. But to me, the whole thing, it felt like they were like, we need to arrest this guy, but we can't arrest him until we beat him in a race. That's against the law.
Right. Obviously. We play by rules in this universe.
Every person in this galaxy is entitled to a fair race.
Like in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Galaxy, you're entitled to a card game to determine any outcome for anything, really.
Yeah. Yeah, like how in Pokemon you can't arrest someone until you've defeated them at Pokemon.
Right.
And here in the UK, you can't arrest someone until you've beaten them in a soccer match.
Right.
It's whatever, What is it, baseball over there?
No, nobody plays. No, the Japanese play baseball.
Oh, that's true. But everybody knows that in Japan, you have to win at Street Fighter. So... So the Mute City theme plays during the beginning of the race, which was nice.
Yeah, even though they're not in Mute City.
Yeah, then yeah, it would have made more sense maybe if they played the Firefield theme or something, but
this isn't Firefield, Mike.
No, I
we
know.
established that.
And also,
it's
like,
Mute City.
I don't really like the Firefield theme that much anyway. Really, the only F-Zero songs I want to hear are Mute City and Big Blue, sometimes Red Canyon.
Yeah.
That's it. Zoda boosts early because he's a maniac.
Because he's full of dopamine and adrenaline.
And Rick and Jack worry about overloading their engines so soon, but they gotta keep up with him.
That's okay. Jack explodes anyway.
Right, okay, what happened? Because Jack slows down so his engine doesn't heat, and Zoda, what I've written here in my notes. Jack slows down to stop his engine overheating, but Zoda does something, and his car explodes. I don't know what he did.
All I could think about was either he didn't slow down enough, or it was already too late, and so, like, Zoda gets behind him.
No, because Zoda does something, and there's some kind of, like, yellow energy that seems to get absorbed out of Rick's car.
I don't know. I couldn't make sense of it.
It looked like
don't know.
Zoda absorbed some kind of energy out of Rick's car into his own car, and then Jack, and then Jack's car exploded. But I don't know why.
No, it was not clear.
It was not explained in any form.
I just assumed that it overheated and he exploded, even though I knew deep down that didn't make a damn bit of sense.
So what I thought was happening, and what I think would have made more sense, is that when Jack decided he needed to slow down to stop his engine overheating, Zoda got in behind him so that he couldn't slow down and, like, forced him to keep going at that speed until his engine exploded.
Yeah.
I think that would have made a lot of sense, but it was implied that something else happened that I didn't understand.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Rick is confused because his car isn't going as fast as usual. And this is where Lucy explains to Jody that she decreased the thrust of the Dragon Bird so that it would handle better. And Dr. Clash thinks it's a good idea, but I really feel like they should have told someone, especially the guy driving the car.
Yeah, because Rick's sitting in the chair and he's like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's really wrong, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that means it's going to handle faster at high speeds. He just knows that something isn't right.
Yeah, he just knows that his car isn't performing the way it normally does, the way he has practiced it performing. All his training is for nothing now.
Yeah, his car is slow as shit.
And, like, if they had told him, I feel like that would have been fine, but it feels really weird to leave this as a surprise. Like, surprise to everybody, including the driver.
Even when he first notices it, they're being, like, really cheeky about it.
Yeah.
They're not coming out right and saying what they did.
Yeah.
Dr. Clash is just like, oh, just wait and see. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and then he, like, I would assume that the outcome of that would be that he would come up to, like, the first corner and take it too hard because he's handling better than he expects to and crash right into the inside, wall.
Every time I'm playing Mario Kart and I decide to try out a different car that I am not familiar with, that's exactly what happens.
Yes.
I take the turn way too early and I just make a fool of myself.
Mm-hmm. When you, like, have been using karts for years and you suddenly try a bike.
Yes!
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Zoda's car almost overheats. I like how he was like, I thought he was just gonna, like, completely not care, because his reaction is just like, oh, I'm gonna explode. Whoops.
Another day in the life of Zoda.
Yeah, he slows down, and Rick loses his dang mind. And he breaks, and then, like, backswipes Zoda, which is a thing you do in the game, to be fair. You can, like, spin your car around to smash people up. And then Zoda is like, as Zoda is spinning out, he hits a boost and gets boosted straight off the track.
And this is where I immediately became confused.
Okay.
This whole episode has been about Rick swearing vengeance on Zoda and swearing to beat him in this race. But as soon as Zoda spins off the track, guess who goes out there to meet him?
Oh, yeah, of course.
What about the race?
Oh, he doesn't care about the race. He only cares about Zoda.
I know, but, like, if it is his job to win this race, to make sure that the bad guys don't get the money, he's completely forgotten that. And it's only because of our good friend, whatever his name is.
Dr. Stewart.
Yeah. Gets a photo finish and barely wins the race against Baba, because Rick is just off in the fire field staring at Zoda.
That is funny, yeah. Yeah, Rick has the super special boy car, but he just, like, throws the race to go after Zoda.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because Dr. Stewart, he says that he won because he has an S-class booster. He actually has an A-class booster.
What a liar.
But I think A is as high as they go, so I'll give it to him. I don't think they actually go up to S in the game. I checked. I went and checked what his boosting grade was. It's A. In fact, his, I think a lot of the, like, grades, jokes that spell out things. Dr. Stewart's car was built by his dad, so his grades spell out dad.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's great.
I just thought this ending was funny because, like, as the race is starting, Dr. Stewart says something to imply that both he and his car are middle-aged. And then I just thought it was funny that this middle-aged man squeaks across the finish line while Rick is out there on a revenge quest.
Well, I'm sure we talked about this before, but of everybody in the main cast of this show, or of everybody in this episode, actually, Dr. Stewart is the only one who is from the original F-Zero game.
Oh.
Because there were only 4 characters in the first F-Zero game. They were Captain Falcon, Dr. Stewart, Samurai Goro, and Pico. That was the whole cast.
That's not a lot of racers.
No. And then they went from 4 races to 30 races in F-Zero X.
That's too many racers.
Yeah. So I think, like, him being kind of a veteran is in reference to him being one of the originals, which is cute.
I mean, I love it. I love it for him.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
We don't need to have an entire cast of teenage shonen.
No. But yeah, speaking of the teenage show, well, I guess he's in his 20s. But Rick is at the flaming wreckage of Zoda's vehicle. I really liked, like, Zoda's quite nice to him. Zoda comes out of he just kind of stands up, like horror movie style from the wreckage. No use of his arms or legs. He just, like, flops up like he's being pulled by strings. And then he steps out of the burning wreckage and he's just like, oh, I remember you. It's been a while.
Remember the good times? Remember the car times?
I don't think he exactly remembers who Rick is. I think he just remembers his face. And he's like, oh, it's you. Yeah. Didn't you, like, serve me coffee? Or
didn't I send a car door flying through your windshield?
Oh, that's right. I killed your fiance.
Whoops. Water under the bridge. I'm pumped full of adrenaline now.
So they have a brief fist fight. It's mostly on Rick's side. I feel like Zoda mostly just dodges.
Yeah. And then leaves.
Yeah, he didn't want to fight. I looked at it, I watched the animation. I think he maybe, like, threw one punch, but mostly he just dodged. I think he gets hit one time as well, right in the face. But we go back to the base. Jody gives Lucy a shoulder thingy that makes her part of the team, I guess. I thought she was already part of the team.
This is just a trial run.
Yeah, this was
She hadn't signed a waiver.
Yeah, the paperwork hadn't been done yet. That's why they were so nice to her. Then they're like, look, we have to offer her the job because if we don't give her the job, then she won't be signing the legal paperwork, and we just need her signature on that paperwork. You can, if you want, you can get rid of her after the 2-week trial period. That's fine.
Well, no, now she's got trade secrets. She's worked on Ryu's Super Special Boy car.
Oh, whatever.
She made it better.
I don't know if that car's even that. What was even all of this? Hold up. Why do we remember why it was that they brought him from the distant past in the first place?
No, we don't remember why they did that.
Did he have special past knowledge that they needed and haven't used?
Special car powers.
Oh, that's right.
The dragon bird is like a wild horse that cannot be broken, and only his caring hand can tame her.
And only someone who drove a completely different vehicle 100 years ago could know how to drive this new vehicle.
This is quite the still frame that I have paused on. She's just a little off model.
She's off model. Okay, Jody Summer is off model through this whole show. Constantly. And it drove me crazy. Because, like, the very first close-up of her at the very beginning when she's in that meeting and she's holding the iPad thing, she looks completely off as well.
Right.
And Dr. Stewart doesn't look like... That looks like Jim Carrey in the background. That's evil Jim Carrey. I don't know if they had model sheets for this show. I feel like they were working... Every shot, they were working off a fresh CRT screenshot from F-Zero X.
This is a vibes-based show?
Anyway, yeah, this was boring. I don't know. I didn't like this episode.
No. It made me seriously question why this show exists.
I don't know why this... I don't like the whole, like, we have to beat Zoda in a race thing. Like, these guys, like, the police have to beat Zoda in a race. Why? I don't know. Just arrest him for his crimes. Easy.
Maybe it's because Zoda isn't the big boy, and they have to be in it for the long con, you know? To get the boss man.
Maybe.
And until then, they just have to dry up all of his race funds.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, Zoda is middle management, I guess, because Black Shadow is the real villain. I don't think he's appeared yet, though. Even, has he?
I don't think so, but I don't remember much of this show.
No, me neither. The preview for next episode tells us that Samurai Goro will be appearing, and I am interested in that.
Yeah.
Like, the only character debut this episode had was Baba, and I don't really care about Baba. But Samurai Goro he's up there. He's one of the main faces of the F-Zero franchise. He's Captain Falcon's rival.
He's Captain Falcon's dad.
He's Captain Falcon's... What's the equivalent? He's Captain Falcon's Knuckles, I guess. He's not his Shadow the Hedgehog. He's his... Yeah, I think Knuckles is the equivalent. Captain Falcon's Shadow the Hedgehog is Blood Falcon.
Okay.
That Samurai Goro is the Knuckles of the show. He's the...
Friendly rival?
They're less friendly. It's like early Knuckles, you know, when Knuckles was on Eggman's side.
Right.
But Samurai Goro isn't on Black Shadow's side. I think they would kill each other, given the chance. But I don't know how this show is going to handle him. Maybe they will make it more of a friendly rivalry for this show. Because that's one thing about F-Zero is the characters and their relationships and their storylines are not very developed. So we know that Samurai Goro is Captain Falcon's rival because we are told that. We haven't really seen them interact in the games because nobody really interacts in the games.
Yeah, I think this show is a little too concerned with heroes and villains. I think they're probably going to make him evil.
Maybe, but I could see them going that, like, every show like this has to have one character who's on neither side, right?
Right. The horse collar.
Right,
if you will. The proto-man.
Exactly. I could see them going that route where, like, Samurai Goro is a villain to begin with, but eventually he'll help them because there's a bigger villain. That's what they do with DDD in the Kirby show.
I don't know what you're talking about. DDD is not a villain. He's the hero.
DDD is more of a villain in the Kirby anime than he is in the games, but he's still not the villain. He still ends up becoming a friend. So, because when we watch that Kirby show, I'm always taken aback in the early episodes that DDD really is trying to kill Kirby.
Yeah?
Because in the games, I never get that vibe from him. in the games, it's just like, he's kind of a bully, but he's not out to hurt anybody,
Remember in the Kirby cartoon when DDD made his own cartoon about himself?
Yeah. That was great. We haven't watched that for the show, have we?
No.
We should watch more Kirby. I love that show. It's a better show than this one. Even if I have I have my complaints with the Kirby show, but in fact, I have the same complaint with the Kirby show that I have with this one, in that it focuses way too much on its own original characters.
Yeah.
But at least the Kirby show wasn't boring about it, where this show is.
No, the Kirby show's fun.
Yeah.
And wild. Remember when Kirby had a gun?
Yeah. Remember when he exploded the gas station? That was really funny. I wish this show was that funny. Wasn't it just because somebody put a sticker on a button that said no Kirby and then Kirby pressed it immediately?
Yes.
Oh, God. This show could be funny too, but it's not.
But it doesn't dream big enough.
It doesn't dream big enough. It doesn't care about... This show doesn't like F-Zero, is what I feel like.
Yeah.
This show feels like...
Doesn't respect F-Zero.
Yeah. This show feels like it's made by people who wanted to fix F-Zero.
Yeah.
And they were... they rooted through the character list and they were like, here are the characters that I think are interesting. And it's none of the interesting characters, except Mr. EAD.
They did not take the Wild Wasteland perk at the beginning, and now the game is dull and boring.
Yeah.
That's not true. New Vegas is still fun, but it's better with Wild Wasteland.
But, maybe Samurai Goro will turn it around. We'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe Captain Falcon will turn it around. There's stuff I know about later episodes that I'm interested in. And it's all when Captain Falcon becomes a bigger part of it, so we'll see.
It just takes us 30 episodes for that to happen.
I know that Captain Falcon doesn't appear again until episode 7. And we're on episode 3, so... They could do a Samurai Goro episode. An episode about Captain Falcon's rival, without putting Captain Falcon in it.
Yeah. Falcon's busy.
Stupid. Anyway, now we come to the paper puppet of the cafe owner guy, whose name I have forgotten. And he tells us some things about F-Zero lore, I guess. He talks about the G-Diffuser here. G-Diffuser is shared lore between F-Zero and Star Fox.
Wow.
Remember the opening scene of Star Fox 64 where Fox is like,
check your G-Diffuser system.
Vaguely.
yeah. I don't, it's just basically just some techno magic that lets them fly, but I always thought it was interesting that it's shared between the two series. Because it always has been.
Just like Fox's dad.
That's because both of these series are made by the same studio, so... Yeah, Fox's dad, it's a human version of Fox's dad, but he's in this show as well. There's an episode about James McLeod.
Good.
We gotta talk about the dub now, Mel.
No, I forgot such a thing existed.
Play the theme song.
It is now 2201. Radical advances in transportation technology have transformed the world. Interplanetary travel has put mankind in touch with new planets, new life forms, new dangers. And a thrilling new sport grips the galaxy, fueled by fans across the universe and driven by the need for speed.
It's bad. Like, I don't love the Japanese theme song, but it's okay.
Yeah.
The English theme song is so bad. It's so bad.
Cool. Love that.
It aired on October 10th, 2004 on Foxbox, which was just about a year after the Japanese airing. Slightly less. All new soundtrack. Much worse. No Mute City theme. Biggest crime. Typical 4 kids. taken even the game
Right.
music out. I had forgotten that this was in 4Kids' accent era.
Oh no!
Where every character has to have an accent. So we've got
Right.
Russian Dr. Clash, and I don't know what Jack Levin is supposed to be. He's either English or Australian. I honestly can't tell what they're trying to do there. It's one of the two.
Me too. It's a Barbie out there.
Relax, gentlemen.
I mean, if it's an American doing an accent, it could be either or.
Yeah. Mr. EAD's voice is very different. I forgot. I don't know if he sounded like this in earlier ones, but it really struck me because it was a much more generic robot voice with like a filter on it to make it sound kind of hollow and echoey.
Rick is being followed. I cannot identify the machine.
It reminded me a bit of what was the robot from Power Rangers? Was it like Alpha or something?
I don't remember.
No, me neither. But it sounded like him a little bit, which did not fit Mr. EAD, I don't think. And Zoda has a much more cartoonish, exaggerated voice as well.
このところ俺たちの大事なビジネスを邪魔する奴らが現れたと聞いている。
You think stopping one pilot will solve my problem? There's a whole team of them working against me.
I was okay with Zoda's voice.
Yeah, he's allowed to be a little comedically evil.
Yeah, he was a lot more theatrical in the dub than he was in Japanese, but I thought that worked. I also forgot that this show was making edits to the lip flaps.
Uh-oh.
It was very noticeable at the end of Lucy's introduction scene because she laughs and it's like extremely sped up mouth opening and closing for a laugh, which didn't look right. It's like, imagine if you laughed, if you were like, ha ha ha, but your mouth fully opened and closed for each ha.
If your lips made full contact every time.
Pop, pop, pop. You can't do it. It doesn't work.
No.
It just didn't look
That's
right.
not how laughing works.
It looked really stupid. Everyone's also like more aggressive and angry, especially Rick. He's so angry in this show. He's got some serious problems.
He was already angry before. I can't even imagine.
I know. Imagine it worse.
No way. You don't have the experience to handle my machine.
I don't want to.
They also added some dialogue to make Jack more skeevy.
Maybe you and I can have dinner tonight and talk racing.
Oh, thanks, but no thanks.
Heard about me, did you?
Uh-huh.
Why?
I don't know, because at this point, it's funny, because I feel like in the first episode, we were kind of led to think that Jack was like a skeevy jerk. But they've already kind of done a redemption on him by this point, and they're like, nah, he's actually quite a good guy. So we're not really looking at him as a jerk anymore, but the English one still wants us to think he is.
Right.
One change made to the dub, which I thought was probably for the best, was at the dinner scene, Dr. Stewart actually does point out that Lucy and Dr. Clash are missing as well, which I thought made a little bit more sense to how the scene moves forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they're like, oh, maybe they're all working on the machine, which is where they find them. So, but then they changed Dr. Clash's dialogue for the part where he like accepts Lucy. So instead of just looking at her and then being like, it's gonna take us all night, you know, he straight up says,
But we might have shot if we work together.
which I thought was a lot more heavy-handed.
That's so cheesy.
Yeah, I didn't like that as much. It didn't.
No.
It was a lot less of a sweet moment for their relationship arc. And in the dub, Zoda, when he recognizes Rick, he knows his full name. He recognizes his full name. He's just like, oh, you're Rick Wheeler, which doesn't happen in the original. Like, in the original, you get the sense that it's like a familiarity, but he doesn't necessarily know exactly who he is.
Right. He's moved on with his life.
Yeah, it's been like 200 years or whatever it was. But in this, it's straight up just like, oh yeah, it's you, Rick Wheeler. I remember your blood type.
My life also stopped on that day.
I don't know if he ever knew his name.
That's a good point.
He was just a cop chasing him, right?
Right.
Would he have reason to know his name?
Did they have history before? Like, was he the cop that arrested him and had him thrown in jail? I don't remember.
Me neither. Who knows? Who cares? That's it anyway. That's all the changes I noticed.
Okay.
Hey, I haven't recorded one of these in a long time. This is me recording later because while I was editing this episode, I noticed another edit to this show that 4Kids made that I didn't notice. And that's that they changed Zoda's gun, which I guess I should have expected and been on the lookout for. The funny thing is they didn't really change it very much. It wasn't very realistic to begin with. It's very clearly some kind of like laser pistol. But originally it was black, and they have repainted it to make it kind of a magenta, and it's a little bit less detailed, but that's about it. I hate recording these. I feel so strange talking into the microphone when Mel's not at the other end. This is probably why I don't do video essays. Alright, bye! Not a good dub, but you know, it's a bad dub of a bad episode, so whatever. If you really want to watch this episode, watch the original. I feel like you could probably skip this episode.
Yeah, it's pretty dull.
Yeah, like the purpose of this episode is Lucy joining the team, right? And her ingratiating herself onto the team members. But I already, like the previous episode ended with her showing up and enlisting. I feel like you could skip this episode. And when she's a member of the team in the next episode, you just know. You just know. She's a member of the team now. It's fine.
But we needed to know that she's competent at her job. How else would we know?
Even in later episodes, like the biggest thing that happened here is Baba gets introduced, I feel like. But even then, I feel like if you watched another later episode with him in, you'd get it. There wasn't really any important information about Baba here. Anyway, that's it. That's all.
But what of the legacy?
Fuck off.
You sit here and you pry the legacy from my lips, and when I offer it willingly, you're pissed about it.
I forgot to check. I don't think there's anything.
Oh, the truth comes crawling out.
I mean, okay, so there's two games that were based on this show, right?
Mm-hmm.
F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero Climax. Honestly, I think it's unlikely that any elements of this episode made it into the show into those games in any meaningful way.
Right.
You know, I assume that Lucy Liberty is playable in the game, but she was already introduced, so yeah, here she is. Is Baba in the game? Yeah, there he is. And oh look, alright, well here's the legacy then. Baba's long nose is in F-Zero GP Legend for Game Boy Advance.
That's the dumbest one we found so far, and I love it.
You know, I'm looking at these character portraits, though, from the game, and I actually wish the show looked like this. This is a much better... Here, look, I'm going to send you a screenshot of this. This is a much nicer art style than what the show actually has.
Yeah?
I'd be way more interested in watching this show.
The skull right next to Bio-Rex.
Oh yeah, all of these are characters that we're going to see in this show eventually.
What a dumb cast of characters, and I love it.
Yeah.
So James McCloud, they made a human, but then there's Leon, who's just a dog man.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know. I can't explain it. It could have easily just been James McCloud unchanged.
Right.
From Star Fox, and I feel like he would have fit in just fine.
Nobody would have batted an eye.
No. Because it is... I feel like it's heavily implied that there's the shared universe there anyway.
Right.
Like, Octoman is in Star Fox. He's in Star Fox...
Isn't one of the endings of the bad DS one that Falco
the
and
Fox
Fox...
and Falco, yeah, go off and become F-Zero racers, I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's heavily implied, at least, that Star Fox and F-Zero have a shared universe. And I feel like I've read before that it's implied that Metroid shares F-Zero's universe as well. But that probably less so, because Metroid's by a different studio. F-Zero and Star Fox are by the same studio, so it makes the connections make more sense.
Metroid shares a universe with Castlevania and Kid Icarus and Mega Man.
Yeah, I forgot.
And Donkey Kong.
Yeah. And Zelda, don't forget.
Of course.
All right, so final thoughts. This episode was bad. This show would be better if it had the same art style as the games based on this show.
And the same humor.
And the same humor as the games that the show was based on. Yeah, that's the two directions I want it to go. I want the humor of the games the show is based on with the art style of the games based on the show.
Yeah.
Because, man, looking at this... Go and look at the art for F-Zero GP Legend, the Game Boy game. Go look at the character profile pictures. Because, man, there's some beautiful art there.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, this show does not look that nice.
The show is not far off from these, but because everybody's so off-model most of the time.
That might be what it is, yeah. Maybe this is what these characters are intended to look like in the show. But they're just never drawn on model.
Yeah. Because, a lot of them are pretty dang similar, but when you see them in motion in the show, they just don't have the budget to keep this level of quality the whole time.
Yeah, you could be right. I'm not sure who developed this game, was it? Oh, it was Suzak Inc. I don't even know who they are. I was wondering if EAD made the games based on the show, but I guess EAD haven't made an F-Zero game since X, because Sega made F-Zero GX and F-Zero AX. EAD just don't care for the F-Zero series, unfortunately.
Terrible.
I don't think they've made a Star Fox since Star Fox 64 either. I think all the ones after that have been made by other studios. Maybe they made the DS remake of 64, but that doesn't count.
No.
Anyway, we got off topic, but I know our listeners like it when we do that. So...
Nobody wants to listen to us just read a Wikipedia page.
No, that's a bad podcast.
I feel like this episode has kind of dampened my flame for demanding this show.
Yeah.
It no longer burns as bright, which means more Donkey Kong.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, because maybe episode 4, like I said, Samurai Goro, I've got faith in Samurai Goro. I like that guy.
Okay.
So, Samurai Goro is definitely one where I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll watch the Samurai Goro episode. Pico, I would tune in for a Pico episode. Mighty Gazelle, I'd be interested in seeing what they did. James McLeod, obviously. The Skull and Biorex, for sure. Super Arrow, yes. Gomar and Shio. Silver Nielsen would do it for me as well. Oh, and Blood Falcon. I'd come back for Blood Falcon too.
You just listed off like half the cast.
Yeah, but the ones... Would it be more interesting for me to list the ones I'm not interested in coming back for?
No, because that's just the other half of the cast.
Give me a Billy episode or a Kate Allen episode. Nah, not too fussed. Antonio Augusta, whatever. Who's he? Beastman.
I don't know, but he looks really angry.
Yeah. Beastman, I'm not bothered about. Michael Chain looks like a GTA character. I'm like, whatever about him. I don't care about John Tanaka, but we've already seen him. Roger Buster is another one. I'm like, who the fuck is Roger Buster? He doesn't look like he's from F-Zero. What does it say about him? Roger Buster is a character who works as a delivery man and also competes as an F-Zero pilot. Wow, how interesting. That's his whole thing. He's a delivery guy.
Like Fry?
Like Fry, but less interesting because he's not from the past or anything. He's just... Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. If you'd like to support this meandering madness, you can head to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and join our other patrons, Jamie Core and Mark Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends, for being here.
You dang freaks.
I'm Skull Pirate Mike, and I've just about finished Persona now, which means I'm going to be streaming Chrono Trigger soon-ish, probably.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And then, I guess it became May while we were talking.
No, it didn't. It's still April.
It's May for me now.
What does that mean? Why is that special?
It means that I'm only a month away from starting my next summer marathon, and I'm not going to reveal the results of the poll yet, but I've been running a poll for the past 4 months or so to decide what...
Is the winner who I voted for?
I'm not... who did you vote for?
You know who I voted for?
I'm not going to tell you who the winner is.
Oh, come on!
It is who you voted for. But it's only leading by 1 vote right now, so that could change if anybody.
It's mine. It's my vote.
It is your vote. No, it was. I believe it was actually Fry Guy's vote that put it over the top. But the choices were 90s Nickelodeon games. I had to get very specific about that because there are so many Nickelodeon games. Mickey Mouse games, Looney Tunes games, or The Simpsons games. We'll see. So whichever one wins, I'll be marathoning that from June to September.
That's a long time. Are there that many games?
Yes, definitely. Well, you know, if I finish early, I finish early, and that's great. But I've never... So far, every time I've thought I would finish early, and I never have, so... I'm still trying to find the sweet spot on these marathons. Well, bye!
That one felt even less planned than usual.
What, the bye or the whole episode?
Yeah. No, the bye. I know you always try to catch me off guard, but I think you caught yourself off guard that time.
I just sort of realized we were still recording.